First, I just want to say hi to my mate Grant in Australia. Hi Grant, if you're watching this. If you don't know, Grant does a really good Elvis show on Saturday afternoons Australia time called For the Love of Elvis, and you can hear this live or even previous episodes. So if you just Google For the Love of Elvis, you should be able to find it out there. And he plays a mix of all kinds of stuff, new releases, old hits, bootleg records I think he's been playing recently, live recordings, alternate takes, as well as big hits as well, of course. He does also take requests, and yesterday I was able to catch the show live for the first time in a while. So I sent him an email just to let him know I was listening. And he wrote back saying, do you want to hear anything? So I said, yeah, okay, play something in electronically reprocessed stereo. Any song will do. And I kind of did it as a joke, stroke challenge to see if he actually had anything right there in electronically reprocessed stereo. And sure enough, he actually played 3 different songs for me. So well done, Grant, for rising to the challenge, and thanks for playing those songs. That was a lot of fun. The reason why I think I was thinking of electronically reprocessed stereo is probably related to this video. At the end of the video, I'm going to be doing something new, which I will call Comment of the Week, for want of a better expression. And what I want to do is focus on a comment from a previous video, which I think is interesting, something that's got me thinking, something that's got me doing some research, and then I think you might be interested in, something which I've like to follow up on. And so while I was preparing for this video, I was reminded of a story, something that happened to me when I was about 15 years old. Back then, my collection was largely singles, and I had a lot of singles that looked like this. A 1977 RCA Gold Standard release from America. These were very easy to obtain in the city where I grew up. So I had quite a few of these. And so one day, came home with one. It was Wear My Ring Around Your Neck and Don't You Think It's Time. So I was really looking forward to hearing both sides of that record, because they were both new songs to me at the time. And in my room, I had a friend with me at the time, a lady friend, no less. So I was, a bit worried about playing the record for her, because she wasn't an Elvis fan, and it wasn't particularly cool to be an Elvis fan at that time where I grew up. But anyway, I put the first side on, and I was thinking, yeah, what a cool title, Wear My Ring Around Your Neck. And it was a really good song, real crunching rocker, Elvis belting out that vocal. So I was pretty pleased with that. Then turned over to the B-side, Don't You Think It's Time. And the first thing I hear is this dong, dong, and I thought, oh my goodness, it sounds like he's tuning his guitar up. But then it went from bad to worse, because the next thing you hear is these old sounding guys going, ah-ho-ho, ah-ho-ho, ah-ho-ho. I thought, oh my goodness, this is terrible. It sounds so 1950s, even older than that. But then Elvis came in with that great vocal, kind of rescued the day to some extent, but even by the end of the song, I was still kind of metaphorically with my head in my hands, because those ah-ha-hoo, they just kept coming in. But in the end, I actually grew to like that song more than Wear My Ring Around Your Neck. Anyway, the reason why I'm going on about that song is because it was released on an album that we're going to be focusing on today, the Elvis's Gold Records Volume 2 album, aka 50 Million Elvis Fans Can't Be Wrong. I've never quite known what the correct title of that album is. The one that I've got in my hand here has got Gold Records Volume 2 on the spine. Anyway, so that one came out in 59 in America, 1960 in most other countries. It didn't come out in Japan the way we know it until 1962, the spring of 1962, and it looked like that. As you can see from the top there, it's actually in stereo, so the electronically reprocessed stereo version came out first. In Japan, like many other countries, they very eagerly started releasing the old 50s records in this new format. Standard Japanese back cover there, with lyrics, song titles in both languages, and I think there's a few notes up there, yeah, in Japanese. There's your label. This is actually quite a late copy, this one from 1968. To go back to Don't You Think It's Time then, many of you will know that there are actually two versions out there, what's known as the single version and the album version. Now, I'm just going to consult my notes there because I don't want to get this wrong. Now, the album version was spliced from takes 40 and 39, and the single version was spliced from takes 40, 47 and 48. And you can tell the difference very quickly by about the 20-second mark, just by listening to what Elvis is singing. So on the single version, around about the 20-second mark, Elvis sings, "Love me, honey, tell me you're mine." And in the album version, he sings, "Kiss me, honey, tell me you're mine" at that point. If you want to hear all those four takes, 39, 40, 47, 48, you can hear them all on this 2-CD FTD classic album called Records Volume 2 set. They're all on disc 1 of this release. As I say, when I bought that gold standard copy of When I Ring Around Your Neck, the songs were new to me. But when I bought Gold Records Volume 2, the album, it was an American stereo copy, electronically reprocessed stereo copy. I don't recall noticing any difference in the two versions of Don't You Think It's Time, the album version and the single version. So if you have the gold standard version of Don't You Think It's Time, let me know if it does have the single version on it or if it has the album version on it. I could just be remembering things incorrectly, but I don't recall noticing a difference. Perhaps I did and I've just forgotten. Anyway, let me know if you've got the gold standard version of Don't You Think It's Time. Is it the single version or the album version? Now, prior to that, in 1960, there had been a similarly titled release, Elvis's Golden Record, which came out in Japan in 1960. It's a 10-inch LP. And not only do you get fewer Elvises on the front cover, you also get fewer songs. It's missing Don't and I Beg of You. Now in Japan in the 1950s, they went their own way as far as what songs to release on what releases, a little bit similar to what they did in the UK. So that did lead to some unfortunate problems with future releases like this one, because by the time this came out in 1960, nearly all the songs had already appeared on another LP. And the whole point of these Golden Records albums was to collect singles. The only two songs on this LP which had not been on LP already were Big Uncle Love and My Wish Came True. In fact, When I Ring Around Your Neck was appearing on LP for the third time when this album came out. However, when this album came out, when you listen to it, it doesn't have the album version of Don't You Think It's Time. It actually has the single version of Don't You Think It's Time. They did get around to releasing the 12-inch album in mono in 1963. I think mono albums were only available until about 1965 in Japan. The last new release in mono was Fun in Acapulco at the end of '63. But I have found one album so far which was pressed in 1965 in mono. So I think that may have been when they started deleting the mono albums. So yeah, this particular title was only available for probably about 2 years in mono, so it's quite difficult to find. So this one also has the single version of Don't You Think It's Time on it, just like the 10-inch album we looked at before. However, going back to the stereo album here, all the stereo versions have the album version of Don't You Think It's Time. And the album came out many times subsequently in stereo. It wasn't released again in mono until 1985 as part of the 50th anniversary series. This is the digital remaster in mono. These particular 85 remastered mono ones sound pretty good to me. This is, although it's in mono, it does have the correct album version on there. And the last time the album came out in mono was in 1992, and that one also has the correct album version on there. So if you want to get a version with the single version on an album, you need to get the 63 mono pressing or the 10-inch Elvis's Golden Record album. Right, now I want to turn to a comment that a viewer left me some time ago, and it was related to this album here, the 56. Why is it so difficult to say the 56 sessions? Right, now I want to turn to a comment that a viewer left a while ago concerning this album here, the 56 Sessions, Volume 1. The idea behind this album and its companion volume, Volume 2, was to gather all the songs that Elvis recorded in 1956 in mono, because they weren't actually easily obtainable at that time. This was released in 1978. So they weren't easily obtainable in mono in a lot of countries back then. So this was a really good idea. However, a viewer of mine, Dave Wood, hi Dave if you're watching, he wrote to me saying that in actual fact, this album here, Volume 1, contains 3 songs that are in electronically reprocessed stereo. Those 3 songs being Heartbreak Hotel, I Want You, I Need You, I Love You, and Don't Be Cruel. And Dave actually contacted me again about this in the past couple of weeks, because he found a letter he actually wrote to RCA about this. There's actually a little address down here at the bottom of the back cover, and he wrote to that address complaining, quite rightly in my opinion, about the fact that these records were not in mono, not in true mono. And lo and behold, he actually got a reply. Those were the days, eh? You write to someone in a big organization and they respond. And if you listen to the album, they do sound very much like the electronically reprocessed stereo mixes. Now, according to that letter, it's a letter that Dave got from RCA. It sounded like a bit of a fudge, in my opinion, what they wrote. But it seems what they did was they took the electronically reprocessed stereo mix and folded it down to a single channel mix, but it still got all that horrible echo that you hear with electronically reprocessed stereo. So it doesn't sound anything like a true mono mix. And I remembered that when Dave contacted me, I remembered there was a single also with Don't Be Cruel and Hound Dog. Now, Don't Be Cruel was one of those 3 songs which sounds horrible on the album, but on the single, it clearly says mono up here. So I put this on for the first time in ages, and sure enough, the single is in mono, but the version on the album is that sort of, I don't know, electronically reprocessed stereo, or reduced to mono electronically reprocessed stereo. How that happened, I have no idea. But yeah, that was a very good comment from Dave. So keep that in mind if you do get hold of this album. There are 3 songs on there that are not actually in mono, certainly not true mono. Okay, so I'll leave it there for today. Any comments, keep them coming, and I'll talk to you or see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Cheers. But I'll call it comment of the week for want of a better expression. And what I want to do is basically focus on dropping my records on the floor.